everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, and you are watching the CD Junkie, but I'm not really going to talk about CDs. You can look at them here. I'm going to talk about some Christmas memories, and this is not really directly related to music. And I know that if you're not into Christmas and you don't want to hear about Christmas memories, I have loads of videos that you can check out, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you hanging out. But this is a Christmas memory that is definitely family oriented. I could sit here and I could talk about, the cool little toys, the Evel Knievels and the little Planet of the Apes dolls and the G.I. Joes and the Big Jims and all these kind of things. And there was the pirates that they used to have. I forgot what they were called. But mine, I had a peg leg, and you'd take the little bottom of the peg leg off and it had a treasure map in it. I'm sure some of you, maybe it's like something swashbucklers or something, but that was one of my favorite toys. It was so favorite I can't remember the name of it. But the thing I want to talk about here, and this is really distinctly a family-oriented thing. There was mom and dad, and then there was my older sister Dana, my brother Mike, me, and then our younger sister Kristen. And while we were growing up, we were starting Thanksgiving, I think the day after Thanksgiving, or maybe even Thanksgiving morning. We were visited by brownies. And what brownies were is they were sort of like a sub-level or a sub-unit of elves. But brownies were invisible. And each of us had names of brownies, and what these brownies would do is they would come and they'd keep an eye on you, and they'd report back to Santa Claus if we were good or bad. Now, here's the interesting thing about brownies. Now, this is all very similar to that Elf on the Shelf concept. So I'm going to show you one of our brownies here in just a little while, but at least the ones that we put up on the tree. But in reality, my dad would go, Steve, like my brownie's name was Obnose. And that's probably because I'm an obnoxious kid. My little sister Kristen, hers was Farfel. And I don't remember the name of my brother or Dana's brownies, but I'm sure that my brother will make an appearance down below in the comments and write the name of his brownie and Dana's brownie. But yeah, the brownies were a real thing to us. We grew up, we have to be nice. We have to, be on our best behavior. The brownies will report to Santa Claus. So my dad sometimes at night, he'd be go, "Hey kids, the brownies are here." And it was almost a scary thing, but exciting too. It's like, oh shit. Well, I wouldn't say that when I was a kid, but I might piddle in my pants a little bit. But it was exciting because all of a sudden, my dad's telling us to look for the brownie. It's just like on Christmas Eve night. Oh, look at that, might be Rudolph up there. And we'd be looking, and it's like, I couldn't see anything. I had bad eyesight anyway, but neither could my sisters or my brother. But anyway, so the brownies would be flying around the room, and my dad would go, "Oh, Stephen, yep, this is Obnose." And then he'd say, "Oh, come here, and then I'll put him in your hand for you." And I'd be like, oh my God. Oh, I'd be so excited. And then of course, the minute I put my hands together, he'd go, "Put your hands together." And then I'd put my hands together, and then I'd open a little bit, and my dad would put his hands next to mine, and then he'd go, there, you have them. And I'd go, "Really?" And I'd open my hand, and then there was nothing there, of course. And my dad would go, "Oh, he got away, there he goes," Of course, we were kids, and we were going, "Oh my God, this is so awesome." But anyway, so the brownies, and at least once a week, if we were good, the brownies would leave a gift at the end of our bed. And almost always, the first gift of the year would be a Lifesaver storybook. Now, back then, they had 10 rolls of Lifesavers. And now I think they sell 4 and they still have them. They're just not that common. But back then, it'd be a little storybook. It'd be a little Christmas book type thing, and you open it up, and there's 10 rolls of Lifesavers, 10 rolls of Lifesavers. The ones that you always didn't want, but you still ate because it was candy, was the butterscotch. But I mean, I'd probably eat that now. But when I was a kid, you don't want the butterscotch. You want the wild cherry. You want the 5 flavors. So it was such a wonderful, wonderful experience growing up in this household, because my mom, I think my mom loved Christmas more than my dad, although my dad was very much behind it. It wasn't the kind of marriage where my mom Phyllis was like, "Oh, Dwayne," my dad, "Oh, it's Christmas," and my dad would be going, my dad just went along with it. But I think he did enjoy it, especially us kids. But also, my dad was born on December 25th, so he had to share the birthday Christmas thing. I feel bad for him now. I mean, of course, both of my parents are passed on, but I feel bad for anyone who has to celebrate, Christmas or birthday on Christmas or around Christmas, and so such a wonderful, and that's, of course, we heard all the music growing up, so when my dad was chasing the Brownies down and grabbing them and all that kind of stuff, we probably had Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet on the stereo, or Glenn Campbell or Frank Sinatra, because Christmas music was a big part of it. And like I've told you in many things, the Christmas music, the Christmas season, all my favorite memories, all my favorite people are wrapped up in that time. And that's why I'm such a fan of Christmas. So people will always go like, "Oh, you love Christmas. Oh, God, you're a Christmas lover." It's like, no, I love good memories. I love good feelings. I love good people. So now I'm going to show you something here that's going to freak you out. Remember how I mentioned Elf on the Shelf? Now, when we were growing up, this is a few decades before Elf on the Shelf, because Elf on the Shelf is not an original idea. And I think a lot of you probably already know that. But this is one of the elves. Now, I think maybe my little sister, Kristen, got to this one, or somebody did, because this elf that I'm going to show you is one of the elves that we originally put on our tree when we were growing up. And I thought this was gone forever, but I think after my mom's passing, my dad had died in 2005, and then my mom passed in 2010, and we had boxes of their stuff that eventually they went through, and in various moves and relationships, a lot of my memories from those times are gone. But one of my sisters, I believe, gave this to me. Probably Dana, my older sister. But this is one of the brownies we had. Now, I'm showing you the back right now because I'm preparing you. Now, see how it's very much like the Elf on the Shelf with the, I'm going to cover the face here, with the folded legs and stuff. This is back from the 60s. I'm going to turn it around now because it looks like somebody, young, red hair, named Kristen, probably got to him with a marker or a couple colored markers or something. Somebody did, maybe even my niece Amanda. I don't know. But they sort of inked him up a little bit, and it looks like he has an infection. Now, I promise you, he's not infected. This is not a pimento loaf elf. This is, but that is something special. It's so funny because I look at it, but then I'm looking at it on the screen here. It looks even worse than it does in real life. But yes, I have an infected elf or an infected brownie. So whatever you do, kids, don't hang out with the brownies. Now, I tried to pass on the brownie memory to my daughter, and I think that after me and her mother got a divorce, I think her mom was like, "Nah, I'm not having any of that." So I don't even know if my daughter remembers the brownies. And I've tried to pass them on to other people in my life, whatever. Nope, they're not having it either. But us Schnee kids, we grew up with this. Now, my family came from Oregon. So when they moved down to California, was it something that I should ask my aunts and uncles? No, I know for a fact that my aunts and uncles and my grandma and grandpa, they were very well aware of this kind of stuff. But did they kind of start it? Because my family is filled with very creative people, you know, and if when I say creative, I'm not just saying everyone could do art or create music or anything like that. They're just very wonderful, outgoing, creative people that they could tell a tall tale if they wanted to. Like my Aunt Wendy used to tell me that, or tell us that the song the Association sang, Windy, was written about her. She actually knew the Association. She used to see them. So when we were kids, we always thinking that, oh my God, they wrote the song about my Aunt Wendy. She was, of course, joking, but it's still kind of fun. And I consider that creative, to pull a fast one on your nephews and niece. Yeah, I think that's awesome. But that's my Christmas memory. I'm sorry for the infection. Got to bring that up close. Oh my God. I got to take him into the doctor, get my brownie fixed. Anyway, thank you so much. I want to wish you all happy holidays. And whenever I think of any Christmas memories, I'll bring them up here. It's so fun to talk about this kind of stuff. I hope that you find it interesting. And I hope that you have a very good holiday season. We've got Thanksgiving. We've got Christmas. We've got New Year's. We've got a time for us to lay down our arms and embrace kindness, love, warmth, banish toxicity from our lives, at least for a little while. Used to be a lot easier. Growing up, I just remember people always just caring about each other, and now it's a little bit different. But you know what? We can all make a difference. So show other people that you care. And, you don't have to do it in gifts. I'm not asking for gifts. I'm asking for kindness. And I think that's the best gift of all, especially, all year round, but especially during the holiday season, because it's tough for a lot of us to get through without parents, family, all this kind of stuff. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring that bell for future notifications. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.
Jingle-o, jingle-o.